Hello there, it's time for SME On Point. My name is Diabo Sito. Thank you so much for staying with SABC News, and it's always a pleasure to bring you this segment here on the SABC News channel. So it has been exactly 1 week since the 2026 budget speech was announced, and it targeted tax and compliance relief, especially for SMMEs, and this was around VAT registration and as well as capital gains tax. Among the interventions that were announced is the compulsory VAT registration threshold that has been increased. And for qualifying small businesses owners who are above the age of 55, the lifetime capital gains tax exemption on disposal of their small businesses was also increased. But I have someone that's going to explain this more in detail about what it means for you and what it means for your small business. I'm joined virtually by Mitchen Adams. He's from Aions Ventures. He's no stranger to SME On Point. Mitchen, thank you so much for joining us on SME once again. Always a great pleasure having you around. Perhaps to start with talking about looking at a practical day-to-day perspective. How do you see these higher VAT registration that has been increased change the way that micro and small businesses manage their pricing, their cash flow, as well as their compliance?
Okay, I think the first win that you get out of it is the admin burden. Really managing and maintaining VAT is such a time-consuming process. And according to that as well, you have to get you an accountant. So there is some cost implication that comes with it. I think you look at some of the people that might be registered, will be great for them, for people that they invoice more than what they do purchases. People that actually do a lot of purchasing, for them to claim that, that wouldn't be something that they want to do. They would want to remain being VAT registered. What it does from a competition perspective as well is where somebody was charging 100 Rand for a service because they weren't VAT registered and somebody had to charge 115, you could bring down the price there, which then makes it a more competitive consumer market. However, if some people keep their prices at 115, it means more money they get to take home.
Let's talk about the improvement of the capital gains tax relief for older business owners who are particularly selling their businesses. Now I was thinking about what kind of conversations do we begin to have as SME owners about succession planning and exit strategy, particularly to take advantage of this change?
Yeah, look, you have to build your business up. I think the threshold is at 15 million basically. So once you go bigger than that, then this rule doesn't apply anymore. But underneath that, we would call these businesses lifestyle businesses. Somebody creates this business in order to manage their lifestyle, and at a certain point when they get too old to actually run the business, they don't have a succession plan to pass on to the kids or to somebody else and then still own a share in it. So they would want to sell it over to somebody that would just buy it and operation it and take it over. To be honest, I don't think many people prepare themselves well for this at all. So by the time somebody else is going to buy the business, the business isn't ready for that. People pay or run their lifestyles business instead of treating it in a way where they pay themselves a salary and the business itself runs its own book. So this is a great thing that they've implemented, but I think it really requires mature business people that have run their business over the last years in the correct way for them to actually benefit from this at all. So it's a nice change. It's there for the future. And if you are running a lifestyle business right now, ensure that you have everything above board and you run it in a manner that you can hand it over to somebody. But honestly, most people are not doing that. So benefit of this change, I don't see it
it's going to be limited.
At all.
Yeah. Let's talk about these big plans and big numbers, particularly for infrastructure and SME funding that were announced both in the SONA, particularly in the SONA. However, you have entrepreneurs that still complain about red tape and slow payments. So what are the maybe 2 mindset and strategy shifts that you think SMEs can make so that they're ready to benefit when these measures finally start to flow?
I have strong views on this, actually.
The
big numbers that were announced, the big numbers that were announced, if you really break down those numbers, it comes down to 18,000 Rand per startup, and does that actually make a big difference? The number, I think it was 2.3 billion announced, on its own sounds massive, but if you look at 180,000 companies being affected by that, it really doesn't have any big impact. So answering your question, how can somebody actually prepare themselves in order to get that influx of money? I don't know if it's even worth doing any of that. I think what businesses are doing right now, they're just trying to survive. They're just
Yeah.
trying to carry on, feed families, put food on tables. What I see from this entire budget is the government trying to take the informal economy and they're trying to make it formal so they can get more tax ultimately out of this. And by increasing the VAT, actually, they thinking that by making the threshold higher, people would register formal businesses now because people have been stopping at a certain threshold
Yeah.
in an informal market because they didn't want to register and take on all this admin benefit. This has worked before, I must.
Yeah. Mitchen, I wish we had more time, especially to explore that last part where you made that breakdown that what the measures that they have announced would translate to about 18,000 per business, and the fact that, they're trying to now formalize what is in effect informal businesses so that they could get tax. And I have a lot of thoughts on that myself, but I'm hoping that we can get you on the show very soon before the month ends so that we can talk more about that and have other views as well. Mitchen Adams, thank you so much. He's from Aions Ventures, and we've been reflecting on the budget it's been a week since the budget was tabled last week by the finance minister. To this story now, we go all the way to KwaZulu-Natal. So a young entrepreneur is redefining local food production with his brand of 5 kg chicken mixed portions. So in many South African households, probably in yours too, bulk chicken portions are a kitchen staple, and that's one that's affordable source of protein. And now Mahlaba Poultry is the brainchild of Sihle Cindi from Ladysmith, who's determined to make his entire value chain from farm to fork. So Sihle's goal is to make good quality chicken accessible and affordable for his community, starting with just a few chickens and a vision. Cindi today runs a poultry farm, a butchery, and a retail outlet, and he's planning to soon start processing and packaging under his own label. Take a look. Sihle's understanding of the poultry business began at home. His mother was well known in the community for selling chickens at weddings, traditional ceremonies, and for everyday consumption. From caring for the birds as a child to spearheading his family's legacy as an adult, Cindi's journey became full circle after he lost his job in Johannesburg, which was a setback that pushed him to return home and start his own small business.
My journey started by formulating or having my own brand or having my own 5 kg of chicken mixed portions. Initially, I used to outsource the chicken from different farmers, take the meat, cut, and make my own brand of 5 kg chicken mixed portions. I negotiated with local butcheries. They took my stock, they sold it. Some they charged me 30 rand per unit, some they charged me 20 rand. It went to a point where I decided to have my own shop now.
Like many small business owners, Cindi faced early funding challenges, but community support played a vital role in helping the enterprise to grow. Mahlaba Poultry currently employs 5 people, supports street vendors and local eateries, proving that the ripple effect small business can create. For Cindi, the success of Mahlaba Poultry is built on discipline and reinvestment. Every cent made goes back into growing operations, expanding capacity, and building systems that can sustain future demand.
You make money, but you still have the responsibility to grow the business, And so far, we have 9 employees. We have 5 at the store, and we have 4 at the farm. So the journey is not easy. Sometimes we get challenges through cash flow management. If we can look at our structures here at the farm, some of them are not even finished, We are not properly fenced. So the challenges remain big. And we are attracting more customers. We are attracting more customers to such an extent that we are short of refrigeration systems. So we need more capacity in terms of refrigeration. We need more capacity in terms of producing these chickens. We need more capacity in terms of labor. We need more capacity in terms of transportation, and to make sure that we have proper vehicles that will transport meat.
The establishment of this business has helped me a lot. I even got an opportunity to get a job, which is helping me to put food on the table for my family.
Ever since I started buying meat at Mahlaba Meat, I am inundated with orders. My customers are enjoying the meat.
I'm a street cook who uses Mahlaba chicken. My customers have only good things to say about the quality of the chicken.
With South Africa's economic outlook expected to improve this year, entrepreneurs like Sihle Cindi stand to benefit from higher consumer spending and potential SME funding opportunities.
Don't rush to spend money on luxury things. The main focus should be the business. Even if sometimes employees, they work normal hours, you should remain at the shop, remain at the farm, do the necessary diligence. Just your focus, give your business attention and make sure that you focus on the growth and be financially disciplined.
If Mahlaba Poultry continues on its current trajectory, it could soon become a model of how locally rooted enterprises can feed both communities and the wider economy. Diabosito, SABC News, Johannesburg. We thank so much to Mahlaba Poultry for sharing their story with SME On Point. We are not only on your TV, but we are also live on our Facebook page. Behind that live is the producer of SME On Point, Bianca Nkuna. We would love to get your views on what you thought of our free shit business of the week, as well as the interview that we had with Mitchen Adams about the SMME interventions that were announced at the budget speech that was held last week. And as I always say, please support small businesses like Sihle Cindi out there in Ladysmith and others. And remember to make the rands and cents circulate. Goodbye.